My name is Uzodinma Iweala, and I wrote the book Beasts of No Nation. I wrote Beasts of No Nation because I was concerned and curious and wanted to understand how children are impacted by conflict. I grew up in a suburb of Washington, D.C., went to a prep school in Washington, D.C. Nigeria specifically was a big part of our growing up. We would go every other year, visit family, cousins, aunts, uncles, grandparents. My ethnic group is the Igbo ethnic group from southeastern Nigeria. The Nigerian Civil War of 1966 through 70 pitted the Igbos in southeastern Nigeria against the rest of the country. And that was a conflict which was very devastating for the southeastern region and very traumatizing for Nigeria as a whole. But as the child of two Igbo parents, you grow up with stories of that conflict and what it did to families. I think that definitely did impact my understanding of conflict and my understanding of what it does and means for people. At the time that I was writing the book, there were a lot of Liberian refugees in Nigeria, and I had the chance to speak with some of those folks. Those exchanges, I think, helped profoundly in terms of trying to humanize and construct people as people. The book itself wasn't just about hardship and suffering. The book was about a very human interaction with that, and that human interaction also involves strength. That's something that I think gets lost sometimes in the conversation.
The government army killed my father.
I think the film does humanize and works very hard to eliminate the space between the viewer or the audience and the idea of a child caught in conflict.
We will not wait for them to come and give it to us. No, sir.
The more that space is closed, I think it makes each one of us more likely to act in our own small way.
Untie him.
For me, it wasn't just about, oh, this is a particular political context and we need to situate the conflict within this. It was about this character and how do you create a character that at once is sympathetic, that is impacted by the world and the conflict around, but that also brings to bear, I think, one of the most important things, which is that oftentimes when you're a child involved in conflict, the political context isn't necessarily all that important. How much understanding of the much larger political picture do you have when you're 10 years old? You might know why people are fighting, but do you truly understand that?
That is what I would be calling you then, eh?
I think perspective is very important. Where you sit as a viewer, where you sit as a storyteller, a reporter.
This is Ventures Africa.
The thing I do now is running Ventures Africa magazine, which is an internet platform for news and stories about the continent, and that's something that is very important to me because being able to get a multiplicity of voices out there that are alternatives to the mainstream voices you hear about the continent is important. We're a young organization, but and we're learning as we go along, but it's a mission that we're committed to. I want people who read the book Beasts of No Nation or watch the film Beasts of No Nation to first and foremost come away with the sense that there is something to be done and that what you can do is educate yourself.